hear this from.
Actually engage online, talk to each other, and engage so we don't get into these situations again.
Yeah, life altered for an entire state. For two families, though, life will certainly never be the same again. But at least,
and keep in mind, if more of this stuff happens, what you're going to get, this is the end result of what you're going to get. You're going to get real ID on the internet. You're going to get more surveillance. You're going to get more two-factor checks. You're going to get more levels of, more lack of privacy. You're going to lose more and more of your freedom on the internet, and the government is letting it happen. And obviously, any conspiracy-minded person would be saying, oh, they're doing this on purpose so people can be excited for the next Patriot Act, right? I mean, it's clearly like, people said that about 9/11. But that's the direction that we're going in. That's very clearly the direction that we're going in.
Sense of closure, perhaps, with the detention of a suspect.
What do you think about real ID on the internet? I would be open to the idea of real ID being necessary to use social media platforms. I'm open to the idea. It doesn't mean I support it, but I'd be open to listening to it. But like, I don't think you need real ID for everything. And porn, bad idea. Hell no. Well, why not? It's a slippery slope. Well, why not? What's the reason not? Let's do a pros and cons list. Yeah, privacy. I mean, I don't think that, like, if you're posting things on the internet and you're doing it with a private company, I don't think that you have the promise of privacy. Like, nobody has the right to post anything that they want on the internet completely anonymously. That's not in the Constitution. It's a data breach? Yeah, but there's plenty of data breaches. I mean, there's plenty of those anyway. Like, of course, that's what's going to happen. How do we avoid doxing? I mean, well, it's simple. It's done, like, I mean, it's the same as any website. Yeah, Reddit needs real ID. Yeah, and also, like, you effectively have real ID to begin with, right? Because you need to have a name and, like, an address and a person that's assigned to an ISP. Like, whenever you pay for your ISP, you are effectively giving them real ID. That's how they catch these people.
Jonathan Weichel, really appreciate your law enforcement analysis.
Joining me now to discuss, Juliet Kayyem, CNN senior national security analyst. Juliet, earlier you and I were both talking about the Boston Marathon bombing, where there was a massive manhunt back then. Things have changed a lot. We were hearing about these drones being involved at the moment of his surrender.
Yeah,
Can you talk about sort of how these things play out
But either
today?
way, no matter how you feel on it, like, I don't want to, like, go back and forth about this forever. Regardless of how you feel about this one way or another, you guys need to admit that it's very clear that this is where things are going in, right? This is the direction things are going in, and it's going very fast. And the more violent stuff like this that happens, the faster it starts going in that direction.
Yeah. So these sort of multi-day manhunts are going to always
like
use
it or
a
not.
combination of tools to try to get the suspect. This was
streamers on Twitch. On what category, you ask? Gaming? Well, he's very popular in that substrate too, but no.
Damn.
In the political commentary sphere. He's, in fact, Twitch #1 political commentator. Now, how did this happen, you ask? Well, I think one of the reasons could be the fact that his name is now one of the most searched words on Google search engine above, for example, the NBA, among other things. So I'm sure that that's a contributing factor. But it's not all there is to it. And also, I'd like to underline while I'm at it, since ASMR seems to be #1, I think I should probably open an ASMR channel. Metatron ASMR with helmets, but I digress. Let's first and foremost frame this in the most coherent way, and then we'll go into the takes. So I'll begin by, rather than talking about who he is, I want to talk about what Asmongold is. And in order to do it, I'm going to give a definition in reverse. So let's retro-engineer it. What Asmongold is not is a political commentator, regardless of any given success in the space. He's a gamer who comments on politics. And
I comment on everything. I give my unsolicited opinion about everything. That's what I do. If something happens on the internet, I'm going to talk about it. It's that simple.
He's a gamer who provides commentary on politics, usually through the prism of the culture war. in relation to gaming specifically.
Sure.
So, in most cases,
Accurate.
there is that connection, a tether, if you will. Although these days, I've seen him comment on policy and news too from time to time. Still, once you frame it that way, a gamer who comments on politics, you'll be able to understand how he can be based on certain topics, mostly those relating to common sense within the gaming space, but also, at the same time, fall short on other more complex issues. After all, that's to be expected. He clearly doesn't have a background in political science, international economic theory, nor history, so he will lack in those areas when he gives an opinion, and people should keep that in mind. If you're commenting on, say, economic policy, a full grasp, for instance, of the socio-economic underpinning of any given item in discussion would be required to have a complete picture and therefore come to a reasonable conclusion. Yet, in my experience, whenever we talk about Asmongold, we talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. This is Asmongold. So what do I mean by that? Imagine you have a D20 right now and you roll it. Unless it's gaming, with which I often agree with his takes, particularly when it comes to politics and games, you have to roll your dice, the D20, to represent Asmongold's positions.
That's right. That's right. I have a lot of crazy opinions. That's true.
If you get any number from 2 to 10, my reaction to what he's saying will be, oh gosh, I don't know.
Yes.
No, I don't think I can agree with that. You roll again and you get between 11 and 19.
That's
I will
right.
say, you know what? What he just said makes perfect sense. Yeah,
That's
sure.
right. Absolutely. And we do so many videos, it happens constantly.
I agree. Sometimes he rolls a 1. In those cases, I'll go, ooh, no,
No way.
no, oh no.
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry, no. Although then again, to give credit to the man, he usually apologizes publicly for those takes. And other times, sometimes you roll a 20. When that happens, I say, Asmongold, based.
Somebody has to.
So which one we're going to encounter today? Well, I've got a few videos prepared, so then we can see which dice we roll and what number we get. In fact, just for fun, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll.
Let's see it.
And let's see what we get. Roll the dice. Woohoo!
Ooh.
Okay, this was not a good
not
take,
so
Asmongold. Next. Ooh, Asmongold, that was pretty good.
Pretty base.
Now, for the analysis to be complete, usually when it comes to criticism towards Asmongold, this is twofold. On one side, people say it's a React channel.
Yes.
And then we can go into the legal and moral analysis of this section. And then
That's
on the other
true.
side, there is the accusation of Asmongold being a right-wing grifter. So, how about we deconstruct these, and I'll share with you my honest opinion on all of these.
All right,
When we
let's
talk
hear it.
about React channels, I'm gonna be honest with you, I occasionally do React videos myself. It's lazy content. It's the easiest type of content that a creator can make. I personally usually choose to do React videos when I'm busy preparing something more research that requires time and there is a certain level of production value. Those take time. So in the meantime, I'll produce a couple of fillers that are React videos. I try to provide commentary that is interesting, congruent, and cohesive, considering the topic at hand, particularly when it comes to history. But at the end of the day,
He's right. I mean, obviously, like editing and putting together an entire video is harder to do than watching a video and reacting to it. I mean, it's objective fact, of course.
no matter how you look at it, React content is lazy. So,
Yes.
Asmongold, since his channel is mostly React, compared to channels that do full production and research,
Yes.
is lazy. He still puts
Effective. Not lazy, effective.
a lot of work in it, because I imagine he's live for a monumental amount of hours.
Yes.
So comparatively, he's lazy. But I think he would accept that, at least for what I understand. He would say, yeah, sure, I'm late.
Yeah, sure, I'm lazy.
Is it compared to other creators? But is it illegal, what he's doing? And most importantly, is it immoral? And I would like to respond to this because, due to the fact that I've done a little bit of React myself, I've had those accusations. From the legal perspective, we need to discuss the fair use disclaimer, which under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, I've
That's a
got
long
it right
time
in front
ago.
of me, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, education, research, scholarship, and, as I said, in general, commentary.
Scholarship
So, from
is
a
what
legal
covers me,
perspective, strictly
obviously.
speaking, as long as it provides enough commentary in order to make his reaction content transformative in nature, he's doing nothing illegal, and nor am I whenever I do a React video.
Fair use is a defense legally, so it's not something that you can claim proactively. It's something that you use as a defense in court. My perspective with it has always been like, if people don't like reacts, then I won't react to their channel. Period. Right? I mean, unless they're making you don't like reacts because you're making a video that's negative about me, and like you don't want me to react to it. Well, too fucking bad, right? But other than that, yeah, I would not react to their videos. I do that all the time. I think that's reasonable.
Now let's talk about the moral aspect of this. I like being thorough when I do these examinations as well as fair. Is it morally wrong to produce React content? Usually people that complain about this, I know myself because of the comments I get, they say that React channels are content thieves, in the sense that someone else with a much smaller channel produced a video, the big React commentator reacts to the video, they are stealing their spotlight, they are stealing their views. This is never or almost never beneficial to the creator that is being watched, and therefore this practice is highly immoral.
Sure.
Now the situation with this, it's a very reductive way to look at this, and it's a really case-by-case scenario, but when it comes to the kind of commentary that I provide, and also for what I've seen when it comes to Asmongold,
and that's always the perspective that I've had, is that like, yeah, I think it's stupid to say that and to like just to place it in like that level of a simplistic viewpoint, but if somebody feels that way, then I wouldn't react to them. It's that simple.
The real question that I think...
And also, by the way, I think that you could extend this logic to video games, and I don't really see a lot of people talking about this, but if a person plays a video game, they're probably putting in less effort than a person who made the video game, or the entire team of people who made the video game. So, in the same way that I think reacting to a video is, in a way, you know, like kind of not really, like, if you want to say that's not fair use, then neither is playing a video game. In terms of effort, for sure they are. Yeah, and also another good component to this too is that when you're playing a video game, you do act as a market replacement for that video game for a lot of people. There are a lot of people who watch a video about a video game and then choose not to buy the video game themselves because they already got their experience through watching somebody else. So I think that really until they want to apply that same logic to video games, I don't really take a lot of the criticism about React channels and this type of complaint very seriously, because I think it can be applied a lot more broadly than what they expect. And I think people just don't like React content fundamentally, and they're looking for a reason to talk about it. Publishers can copyright strike you, but they choose not to. Yeah, but they can't copyright strike you for that reason. And you're talking about the morality of it, not the legality of it. But, you know, you're right technically. That's true.
Should ask is, can it ever be beneficial for a smaller channel? And I have the answer.
Oh.
Let's have a look at this channel, ladies and gentlemen. This channel is called The Background NPC.
What a surprise.
And we can see it's a channel with 112,000 subscribers, so it's a highly successful channel. Man, how many videos did she have to make in order to be this successful? 300, 500, 11 videos, ladies and gentlemen. How did this happen? Either this lovely lady is a genius of algorithmic interpretation and reading within the YouTube ecosphere, or we actually see what happened, which is the man himself reacted to one of her videos. When he reacted to her, she had 300 subscribers. When did he react? Freaking 10 minutes ago.
Well, here's a good way to look at it. I've had companies pay me to react to their trailers. You guys ever remember whenever the marathon event happened and they paid Lyric and Shroud and everybody to react to it? If reacting doesn't create value, then you wouldn't have companies paying streamers money to react. It obviously creates value. That's why they're paying money. Like, I mean, there it is, right? I mean, because, like, everybody, like, you're talking about, like, theoreticals and, like, all these, like, hypotheticals and everything. But whenever you get down to brass tacks, where are people putting their money? If people are paying for reacts, that means that they're valuable.
So we haven't won now?
Oh, so she went from 300 subscribers to 112,000 subscribers, and deservingly so. She's a lovely content creator. I think she makes really nice videos, and now she's got a career. So, and what I want to say about this is that we're gonna watch, by the way, various videos, we're gonna watch this, but I think she's really nice, so you should go and check her out. Not that I have the same level of influence in any way, shape or form, of course, but I would like to encourage you because I think she's really nice as a content creator. There she is.
Sure.
And do you think she is going to complain about content theft? How many views did she get in the original video? I don't know, but I don't think she's gonna have a problem with that. In fact, I watched her reaction and she was very grateful. So in this case, this happened. You could say, yeah, but does this ever happen? Well, Penguin Zero, 16 million subscribers, his career was ignited because a bigger channel reacted to one of his
there's a lot of people who, like, I've reacted to their videos and it's gotten people to watch them, for sure. Same with streamers. I mean, it's common sense. Of course this happens.
videos. Jacksepticeye, 30 million
Duh.
subscribers. His career was kickstarted by a bigger creator that reacted to him. And there are plenty of stories like this. Given if the video in question is a horrible video, even if a big creator reacts to you, you're not going to have success. So, of course, part of this is due to the fact that she produced a good video. And also, as you can see, she's been posting, so she needs to now retain the new subscribed wave. She does have some merit into this. But let's stop pretending that when a big creator reacts to a smaller creator, it's only detrimental to the smaller creator. This is a clear evidence, and I'm all up.
It's so obvious that that's not the case.
That's a yes.
It is. It's so obvious. There's so many points of reference for it. I mean, yeah, of course.
About the fact that she absolutely benefited enormous, and I'm happy for her. Look at the views. She gets more views than me, and I'm so happy for it. In fact, I'll start watching it. You know what? I'm just gonna subscribe to her right now. And I suggest you to go and check her out because I think she deserves it. I'm very happy that she got, look at this, 400,000 views. I have trouble getting 400. I do sometimes, but it's not easy for me to get 400,000 views. She just got 400,000 views in 6 days. That's phenomenal.
About me.
Happy for her. Now let's address the other accusation. Is he a right-wing grifter? Now this is a situation that is a little difficult for me to express without going into, without getting annoyed.
Twitter's
because
not gonna like this
oftentimes,
one.
even though I've expressed millions of times that all I care about is the truth. I am a very moderate individual politically. I'm not a hateful individual. I don't like extremists. Still, whenever I make a video, and if the evidence that I'm providing doesn't confirm biases on either side, people get mad. So, when I make a video and it upsets people on the left, they call me right-wing grifter. There are plenty of videos on the tube that call me a right-wing grifter.
Yes.
And then when I make a video that upsets people on the right, they call me woke. So, I'm either the...
If you're being called woke and a right-wing grifter, you're making the right calls. Because both of the groups of people that scream that stuff are usually radicalized, disconnected from reality retards.
Wokatron on a Monday and the Meta Chud on a Tuesday, which is logically impossible, or I think people are getting a little easily offended. What they do is that they use the word grifter to describe, that in fact insult, simply someone who disagrees with them. But what about...
The idea of grifting is that, well, grifting is being disingenuous and dishonest. I don't know why people say that about me when I've had a 10-year history of being retarded for free. Like, you can call me an asshole, you can say I'm bad, but to say I'm doing it, I'm faking it. I mean, I've been method acting this my whole life. That's a lot.
Well, first of all, let's divide it. Is he right-wing? Now, I know that some of you will say, oh, absolutely, he's right-wing. And then there will be people that say, no, he's a lefty. When I read these comments, I know that people that call him right-wing are probably lefties, and people that call him left-wing are probably right-wingers.
Man, I like this video a lot. That's exactly right. 100%.
The reality is, for what I've seen so far, and as I say, I'm trying to be fair, I think he is very right-leaning when it comes to his positions concerning the culture war within the gaming space. That's what I would say. But I've also heard him say things that no conservative would ever say. So I personally think his takes are mixed. Perhaps we could describe him right-leaning, but he's definitely not as right-wing as a Matt Walsh. I think we can agree with that. But is he a grifter? Well, how about we look at the definition of grifter, since I like being thorough. Grift.
They hate the dictionary, bro. They hate this. Yeah, this is not, they're not gonna like this one. Here we go.
Ways of getting money dishonestly that involve tricking someone. Is he getting money dishonestly? No. A grifter is a con artist, someone who obtains money by swindling or tricking others. Is he tricking? No. Someone who gets money dishonestly by tricking people? I'm gonna say no. Now, within the modern political space, grifter...
They just make this up to say, the only reason why people use this word is so they can invalidate another person's opinion. They're trying to make their opinion seem like it's inauthentic so they don't have to engage with it. That's the reason they create this term.
Doesn't always mean fraud, because I think this definition does not fit Asmongold. I'm trying to be honest here. He's clickbaity, occasionally I'm too, but not fraud. So sometimes in the political space these days, particularly within the culture war, people use it to mean a person of online presence that uses political topics that they know will go viral in order to make a profit. Problem is that in my opinion, and this is just my
What do you think the news does? Do you think the news reports on things that nobody cares about? No. The news isn't reporting about a cat getting stuck in a tree in Wisconsin. They're reporting about a bomb going off. Because more people can.
opinion. This only applies to people that do this, but they don't actually believe and are not being authentic. That's my personal idea of grifting, since in the original word, at least etymologically speaking, a certain level of trickery has to be present. If you don't believe in it, and you're just making these videos because you know they will make you money in order to pander to your audience, and then once you get enough money, you forget about your audience, you go to an island and change name, then yeah, you're a political grifter, left or right. But when you do believe in this, and it does appear to me at least, he seems to be authentic. So if you're genuine, what you could say, because I know people in my audience, some are right-wing, some are left-wing, if you are left-wing, you can easily say, hey, I disagree with his takes, because yeah, those takes might be right-wing from your position. But calling him a grifter, it's inappropriate, simply because for me, in order to be grifting, the person should be unauthentic. And that's my opinion. Feel free, of course.
You can just look at, like, I made videos about Gamergate 10 years ago. Like, I mean, literally, we talking about 10 years ago. I mean, I've been going in on this for a while.
To agree or disagree, watch a few videos. The videos that I've prepared today for you, that I would like to review when I appear on camera again, in 3, 2, 1. Muppet is back. Oh, no, wrong. Muppet is back. No, wrong. Goodness gracious.
What's this?
Technical difficulties.
It's fucked up.
There we go. I'm back. Hey, good to see you.
Streaming's hard.
So yeah, we're gonna review I want to see his take on Dragon Age Veilguard. Let's see what he has to say about Dragon Age the Veilguard, because maybe he'll get more political about it. That's in some very moderate individual. There might be some things when I'm like, I don't know if he's stepping up. Let's see.
I don't know if he's a fan or a hater. He's just watching. He's just giving his opinion. You don't have to be a fan or a hater. No, it's not a big deal. Like, that's like internet fanboy mentality. It's just watching my videos and talking about it. It's not a big deal.
Minutes and 30 seconds clip, so we're gonna go through this one quickly, guys. I would be more than happy to do a collab, Chris, absolutely. With Asmongold, 100%.
Oh boy. And a lot of people that have given extremely positive and favorable reviews to a game.
Bunch of liars.
That has received a tremendous amount of criticism.
Yeah, they are. Dragon Age the Veilguard is a triumphant return to form. Without a doubt, a return to form for BioWare. Return to form!
Return to form. Form meaning Dragon Age. Form meaning Dragon Age Origins.
So he knows about it. So this is, it's even getting him mad.
If you don't know what Dragon Age Origins is, you will not be able to understand the depth
You're getting him
of
mad.
the absurdity of this statement. Return to form.
It's insane.
Return to form! Return to form!
Dragon Age the Veilguard review. 9.
Let's go.
So there's a reason YouTube got rid of dislikes. What is the dislikes be? 40K? Holy shit.
That's bad.
To give you perspective, the tool that allows you to still see the number of dislikes is not 100% accurate.
Correct, he's right.
But it does give you so don't take it literal, but it does give...
It's not a good ratio and all of the comments are bad. I think that you can come to the conclusion that the video was not very well received.
An overall fair analysis from when it comes to the data.
It's a trend.
Of the ball range of... It's an estimate. Still, I can see that. I can see that. I forgot to add my dislike. I'll add it later.
I clicked on the video merely for the comment section. If you ever feel useless, remember that this channel exists.
No base.
This isn't a review, it's sponsored content. That's fucked up.
Oh, that's wild.
I'd lied better. So he loves it.
You clearly find talking about dragons boring.
What?
How? Who doesn't like dragons?
You're not ready? I'm not ready either. Let's watch it.
Pounding that snake's nose. She's still holding the ruby in her other hand.
It was crazy how many videos we made about this game and how bad it was. It's actually insane whenever I go back and think about it. Same with Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm actually almost sad that these games aren't coming out anymore because they were such good content.
Because panties, I was so proud. Oh, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
Well, what are you doing?
Pulling a barb.
Oh, okay.
Bad blood among your crew's not good for morale.
I remember
but there's not
this.
always time for big, drawn-out apologies.
Yep.
So when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling a...
I will say that looking at she's still hot. Now, like the narrative and like her doing push-ups, I love how like, I'm not even talking about the dialogue. It's got nothing to fucking do with the dialogue. I'm not even listening. It's just stupid. Because she she used the wrong pronouns.
Yeah, I didn't even care.
It's really stupid.
Playing the game on
They
mute,
did nerf her boobs. I think they did.
Yeah, I agree with him, but I would like to say the writers did a disservice to the people that, of course, use the pronouns and whatnot by doing this, because this is obnoxious. So the reality is, in my opinion, is that even the writers, they did it because they needed to own the freaking shots. They didn't do it because they wanted to actually support the LGBT community and all that. Because if you do, you're gonna sit down and really think, because this was a catastrophic failure. But let's be honest, people that professionally work into the R&D department or in general marketing, you're telling me that they couldn't foresee that this was gonna create a massive backlash because it's cringe?
No, I actually think that they're not able to, because anybody who brings it up or speaks against it, it's like the Emperor's new clothes, but the Emperor is in North Korea. And so what ends up happening is that when somebody speaks up and says, oh, I think this might alienate people and people might not like this, they get called and maligned as a racist or some sort of bad actor or a bad person. And so why would you, as a guy that's working at this company, put your career on the line to, put yourself in the crosshairs of every mentally ill Karen that's working at that company and then get called into HR for being transphobic because you think that this character wouldn't align with what viewers' expectations are? So that's the reason why. And it's toxic positivity, because nobody can speak out against it or say anything that's problematic about it.
It's just that they don't care. So I agree with him, he's right, this is stupid and it's cringeworthy. But I want to say this.
Reason you can't just apologize?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. But pulling a bath, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, I did.
That is a projection if I've ever seen one. Writer of this. You just made the entire franchise about yourself. Can we be honest about this?
This is the reason why nobody likes them. It's the reason why these games are dying. Yep.
That is exactly what happened.
Yeah, he's totally right.
That's exactly what happened.
I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that it's on everyone else to smooth it over and make them feel better.
Oh, okay. Yes, some people might do that.
Pulling a bar.
Are you sure that them was the right pronoun and making them feel bad? You know. Did you ask? Did she ask or no? But yeah, this is the cringe fest, noble ones. This is a cringe fest.
Puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess. They fix it. Done.
I cannot wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be such a good day for me. I'm going to wait. It was, by the way. We had like 80 or 90,000 people watching the stream. It was such a good day for me. It was an insanely good fucking day. One of the best days, in fact. Wake up early. What's this dialogue? It's not dialogue. It's a sermon. Yeah.
Based.
So true.
He's absolutely right, 100%.
Yep.
I was expecting, by the way he was described, based. It's exactly what it is. It's a sermon. Indoctrinating sermon, in fact. It is. It's a sermon. Even if you agree with it, you could say it's a sermon. You could agree with it. I know my audience is mixed. Some people in the comments will be like, no, I'm left-leaning. Fine. You agree with it, but it's still a sermon. He's correct. He's right. At this point, someone who watches this and says, oh, Asmongold is a horrible, toxic individual, I think they're just saying it because they don't like that the guy has a different opinion.
That's right. They just don't like the fact that I'm saying something that they disagree with. That's it.
On
That's
this
the only
matter,
thing.
by the way. And some of his takes are clearly left-leaning, not in the culture war. In the culture war, I guess a lot of his takes would be considered right-leaning. Although for me, what I've seen up to this point, it was freaking comical.
I think that people have changed the Overton window so much that a normal point of view is considered right-leaning. The reality is that a lot of people are not right-wing because they don't want to see neo-pronouns, non-binary, and trans stuff in video games. This is actually the majority of most people. So if you're trying to create a dichotomy between like two different extremes of people, and you've created this dichotomy where a average amount of people is fitting into one of those extremes, then you have a bad calibration of where that window is. When most people end up being extreme, then it kind of defeats the idea of something being extreme in the first place.
Will serve me well.
In sense. It's not even...
It's insane.
I understand that everything has become political. I can't even say that I like freedom of speech without people calling me a fascist, which is the craziest
racist,
disconnection from reality that I've ever
Super
seen. Because,
racist.
yeah, if being pro-freedom of speech makes you a fascist, then you have to explain to me how is it possible that during the fascist regime in Italy, you could not go to Rome and say Mussolini is a monster.
Most fascist company or countries do not let you speak out freely and have freedom of speech. Anybody who says that is a retard. They're just saying that because it's their special word. They're using the special word.
Instead, because they would have shot you on the spot. When it comes to me, and that's my moderate take when it comes to these things, as long as someone is polite, as long as someone asks me politely, hey, I have this other name, I will use their preferred name.
That's exactly what I said.
Because I use the name Metatron, and you guys are very nice, telling me Metatron, calling me Metatron. Appreciate it's not my birth name. Fine.
Really?
And when it comes to preferred pronouns, don't you even try with the crazy ones like bunny, bunny self, demon, demon self. Never gonna happen. I'm never gonna say it even at GUN point.
Bro, yep. Get this shit out of my life. Yep.
I was fine.
But when it comes to she or he, the regular pronouns,
the normal
as long
ones.
as someone
The
asks
real
me
ones.
politely, I will do it out of politeness.
Exactly.
With that being said,
Yeah, because and this is what a normal person does, by the way. Because a normal person doesn't want to have a confrontation in the Target parking lot. A normal person doesn't want to have an altercation at the Verizon store. You know, like, yeah, sure, she? Okay, yeah, sure, she. Okay, so yeah, ma'am, can I please get the phone now? Like, let's be honest, yeah. You don't want to get in a fight at a GameStop.
someone like Dylan Mulvaney, who made a statement publicly, said that it is the belief of this creator that people should go to jail if they don't use the preferred pronoun, then I will not use it on purpose. Just to show a resistance against people who want to take away my freedom. Now, if you disagree with that, and you want to say, no, I don't want to use any preferred pronoun, that's your freedom.
Yeah, you have freedom of speech.
Instead go more left and you want to say, no, I use all pronouns, everything, bunny, bunny, vampire, self, whatever this is.
You can see this is the reasonable perspective that every normal person has, that it's totally okay for you to dictate what you choose to do, but it's problematic whenever you decide and dictate what I need to choose to do. You can clearly see this difference that he's creating. It's so obvious.
Is your freedom as long as the freedom of the individual is not being taken away by a government that shouldn't have any business into what people say unless what they are saying leads to a crime. That's the only case in which, within at least the United States Constitution where I live, speech is not protected. Government has no business in my freedom of expression.
Why is that an
So
extra
once again,
concept?
you're a nice person. You're lovely.
People don't understand it because they don't want to, because they want to tell you what to do. That's why.
You're not one of those crazy activists, and you tell me, look, I actually have gender dysphoria, like clinically proven, and you want me to use your preferred pronoun, I'll do it because you're being nice and you're asking me nicely.
Yeah.
I look at the person. But if you're one of those who's gonna be like, if you don't say it, you'll be cancelled, I'll say it to make a stand. I'll use the opposite pronoun in that case.
Honestly, I feel like that was a really fair video. I do. I think that was a super fair video. Like a lot of the stuff that he was talking about, yeah, I think he was very fair. What a good guy. And I think that a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of people that don't really give me a fair shake because I am, you know, a demon. And some people are not big fans of that. And they don't really like that all too much. And so Intentions Metatron's pretty fair. Yeah, and so I was glad to see it. It's really nice. It was very fair. Actually, it was. And so I do appreciate it abso-fucking-lutely. So yeah, it's a good thing. And there's a video. I've never watched one of his videos, Metatron. Oh, he's almost hit 1 million subscribers. Holy shit. Holy, 983,000. God damn. Well, there's 983,001. And yeah, good guy. And I think that, again, you need more reasonable, well-intentioned, normal people out there on the internet. And I think that's it. You truly believe that, a demon? There are a lot of people who, this is what they do. I'm not even kidding you. Just a minute. Yep. Oh, in case you didn't get the point, here, let me make it easier to understand. Now do you guys see the problem? Wow. Uh-oh. Yeah, he's summoning? Yeah, I learned how to make those in middle school. I'm really good at making those. Like I can do that without even thinking. And it's a really good star, by the way. Trust me. I listened to enough, you know, like System of a Down and every other like fucking emo metal band and shit like this. As a little kid, like, bro, I can make a perfect fucking pentagram. And so yeah, there you go.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
I think that a lot of modern characters are extremely unlikable. Like, this is a huge problem with gaming. I think this is especially true, like, I'm gonna be real, this is especially true with, like, American games.
I've grown quite worried about the trajectory of what humans perceive as strength, not only in entertainment media, but even in influencers and perceived role models.
Yeah.
This is a steady decline that has been gradually moving towards shaping the very definition of strength. For me, this is actually quite a fascinating topic because of how blind a lot of people are to what is actually happening. Almost as though they know the counterfeit better than the genuine. What do I mean?
They do. Because it's the lack and the absence of positive masculine role models. Because any form of masculinity is viewed as either, oh, that's not just masculinity, that's just being a good person, or it's viewed as being bad.
By this, there is an interesting phenomenon called perceptual expertise that I'll use as an illustration. Okay. Anyone who handles cash on a constant basis, especially in a profession, gain an incredible ability to easily identify counterfeits.
Sure, yeah.
Now, something I find insane about this phenomenon is that it isn't actually taught. It is grown through exposure.
Yeah.
Bank tellers and cashiers handle genuine banknotes all day. This constant, repeated exposure allows them to develop an intuitive sense of what feels right. The texture...
No, this is true, because, like, I can smell a Coke, and I will know whether it is a Diet Coke, a no sugar Coke, or a regular Coke. All I have to do is smell it. I don't even need to taste it. I can look at the difference between a Dr. Pepper and a Coke, like just visually. And I can tell just based off of the color of the syrup.
color, weight, print
kidding.
clarity, and even embedded features of real currency.
Serious.
Over time, they built this mental prototype or baseline of what authentic notes look like. So when a counterfeit does come along, it stands out.
Yes.
Not necessarily because the cashier knows exactly what's wrong, but because it doesn't match the baseline they've naturally internalized. Their brain subconsciously flags it as unfamiliar or off.
Weird.
Now you could probably see where I'm going with this. I believe that a lot of modern writers and influencers are more exposed to a counterfeit strength than they are to actual genuine strength. So to them, genuine strength is foreign, and they probably even see it as weakness. Unfortunately, it also seems like this is slowly becoming the norm.
Well, it's becoming the norm, and one of the big reasons why it's the norm is because that's the thing that a lot of kids want. A lot of the people that watch people like Andrew Tate or Sneeko or whatever that are looking for like life advice, these are like lost souls and like weird kids. That's the big issue. And so like you have a bunch of like little weird kids that think that the coolest thing that you can possibly do, because like when you're 14, right? I mean, you're gonna think that a guy that has big muscles and he has a fast car that's expensive and he has like a bunch of girlfriends, like that's like it doesn't get better than that. And so the real problem isn't necessarily that. It's the fact that all of these things are, I mean, let's be real, like it's made for kids.
I dive into
so
what
all their viewer base are little kids. I think that there are little kids, and then also for a lot of influencers and like content creators, they are looking for an internet dad or an internet big brother. And that's really what it is, because they don't have like a dad that had, or even like not necessarily a dad specifically, but like a father figure or like a male figure in their life that they can look at and say, okay, this is what it means to be a man. You see what I'm saying?
This modern depiction of strength is, let's look at what genuine strength has always looked like. Throughout history, we see that strength has often been defined as the capacity to endure, to act with integrity under pressure, and to choose what is right even when it costs you. It is a moral and emotional resilience, not the absence of struggle, but the decision to face it. It is also force and power under control. Marcus Aurelius put it this way: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength.
That's right. If you have a problem, stop thinking about it. Most of them go away.
Strength isn't about control over people or circumstances. It's about self-mastery. The ability to stay steady when everything else is shaking. The power
this is another big issue, is that I think that maybe this is like a toxic masculine trait, but I think that stoicism is actually the best way to act. And I think that people that can't control their emotions and get upset and angry randomly, I view them as like childish and like not really worth taking seriously as much. And so when you see a guy like Titus, and that's the reason why Master Chief was so good. Master Chief was the prime pinnacle of stoicism. And you look at like a lot of other characters in like these old stories, and there are emotional moments, and I think that it's important to have those, but the emotional moments don't come at the expense of the character being able to do what they need to do when they have to do it, right? So like, for example, like in Lord of the Rings, when Aragorn is with like Arwen and Rivendell, yeah, this is an emotional moment. But when he's up face to face with the fucking Nazgul, he's not crying and running away. He's fighting the fucking Nazgul. That's the difference.
Respond instead of react, to remain grounded when your pride wants to escalate, and in a world that tells you to be loud, aggressive, or performative, Marcus flips it. Real strength isn't about bending the world to your will. It's about mastering yourself in the middle of it. This is a fundamental understanding that everyone has had about strength for a very long time.
This is again what I was saying before about like characters and like stories being written by obnoxious, annoying people. A lot of characters are written as if they are basically the teenage version of an unpleasant and annoying, like, kind of hipster person that was actually right about everything and their parents were wrong about everything. That's the way that a lot of these stories are written. I think Tosh is a great example of that with Dragon Age.
Many clear examples of games, series, and movies over the last 20 to 30 years of genuine strength. but it feels like there is a shift happening. Some of our favorite characters in the past, whether real or fictional, those who have had a very deep understanding of what genuine strength looks like, wouldn't necessarily even exist nowadays. And if they did exist, they would either be gender swapped or race swapped, or even be made to look pathetic where possible. And the characters that replace them or take their throne are so poorly written that it blows my mind how they even exist. Unfortunately,
it doesn't for me. It's just a bunch of annoying people writing annoying characters. It actually makes perfect sense.
A lot of modern writers simply don't understand genuine strength. Classical writers like J.R.R. Tolkien knew what genuine strength was. They knew that strength has a cost, that it takes something out of you. It doesn't leave you untouched, it leaves scars. It humbles you, it makes you even quieter. And that's the irony. The strongest people are usually the ones that don't even talk about how great or strong they are, because they've lived it, they've bled for it, and they know it's not a show. This kind of strength isn't taught. It's shaped over time, in moments of choosing silence, restraint, and endurance. It's taught through exposure. It's always incredible and actually somewhat beautiful to see characters and people who suffer or struggle still choose to do good. That's the strength that moves people. That's the strength that transforms people. But this is disappearing. Or worse, it's being replaced by a counterfeit. What is it being replaced?
It's being replaced by content that's made for 14-year-olds whose dads are fat and don't know how to do anything and are losers. That's the problem. Is made for, and people whose mind is in that place too. Where dads don't exist. Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, like, Cody, like, we had, like, for example, like, me and Cody growing up, like, you know, there were a lot of, like, you know, I would say, like, very positive, like, male role models that we had in, like, our neighborhood. You know, it was, like, Cameron's dad, like, I would say my dad, and, you know, AJ's dad, like, they were all really solid, right? And that was it. And so, like, it wasn't a big deal, like, and so it's not just, like, you specifically, right? Yeah, exactly, Cody, yeah, you remember. And so, like, they were solid, but the problem now is that I think that a lot of cases, that's not really that's not true anymore. It's just straight up not true anymore.
Faced by narcissism.
Ugh.
What we're calling strength today is often just narcissism in disguise. It's not rooted in sacrifice or humility. It's about ego, attention, and the desperate need to be admired without being challenged.
That's the big one, is the admired without being challenged. That, to me, is what I think is at the core of a lot of leftist and, like, a lot of social movements nowadays. And not just leftist movements, but I think that it's, like, generally that way. I don't want to make this, like, super political because I feel like it's also a both sides thing. But it's like people want to be admired for, you know, something that is innate within themselves. Like, for example, like, I am, you know, this sexuality, or I am this gender identity, or I am this skin color, or I am this other type of, you know, like, group of people. It's unpleasant. It's unpleasant, and I think also it's nothing that's earned. That's the big issue, is that it's not earned.
Modern characters, and let's be honest, many public figures too, aren't strong because they overcome anything. They're strong because the script says so, or because they say so. They don't earn our respect, they demand it. They don't grow, they're written to be right from the start. They're never wrong, never vulnerable, never in doubt. And if they are, it's used for 5 seconds of forced relatability before they're back to monologuing about how misunderstood they are. This isn't strength. It's self-worship. You see this constantly. Characters who bulldoze through others emotionally, who never listen, who never compromise, and we're told this is empowerment. But being impossible to work with doesn't make you powerful.
It does whenever you're it does whenever you're one of these groups of people and you're trying to get the HR to listen to you. That's the reason. And again, I feel like that's a really good way to say it because it reveals where these people are coming from. It's, again, people that are empowered by HR. That's it. It's like a, what do you call it? It's like House. Dr. House kind of started this shit. The difference is that Dr. House was very clearly a flawed character. Like, that's the difference, is that, like, he was very good at diagnosing things, but he also, like, went to jail, he was addicted to things, he was fucked up. So, like, House had, like, there were positives and negatives with him as a character. But I think, again, people look at that and they ignore the negatives, and then they just make a character with those positives and also that same level of competence, and they create a character that's just unlikable.
It just makes you insufferable. Strength has been reduced to this kind of moral untouchability. A person who can't be questioned, corrected, or critiqued because they are the representation of some broader ideal.
That's
but
right.
This is dangerous because it teaches audiences, especially young ones, that personal growth isn't necessary, that virtue is a given, that the world should revolve around you because you're the main character. This obsession with self has hollowed out the archetype of the hero. We used to cheer for really good characters because they gave something up. Now we're just told to cheer because they represent some kind of demographic. The worst
they represent a demographic, a social group, an idea, or some sort of viewpoint that is supposed to be seen as virtuous by the nature of its own existence. And I think that if you create a world where people are virtuous by the nature of their existence, you create a world where narcissism is rewarded. That's basically narcissism.
Most of the audience feels the difference. They don't always know how to articulate it, but they know something is off. These new, strong characters feel empty. Their victories don't move us. Their pain doesn't shake us. Because deep down, we know strength without selflessness, sacrifice, or love isn't strength at all. It's narcissism. Now, the problem goes deeper than just poor writing. There's now a dangerous trend that if you don't like certain modern characters or even influencers, it's your fault.
Oh god. The campaign against Avowed reveals the bigotry that fuels the anti-woke? Well, maybe you should have used better fuel. Yeah, I mean, because as far as I know, that game really didn't make it out of the station. That game's dead, and didn't the person that started the game, didn't they leave the studio? So, and this is the problem, right, is like the maligning and the slandering of the people who don't fall in line with this line of thinking also doesn't go anywhere either. Because, like, nobody really likes... It's not like you're not going to bully people into liking something, right? It's bad millennial writing. Yes, even influencers, 100%. Influencers are actually probably, like, one of the biggest reasons. Because, like, games are supposed to be fake. Influencers are, like, at least perceived by a lot of people that are naive to be real.
Or the issue. You are sexist, you are racist, you are homophobic, or you are even transphobic. And this shuts down any honest conversation before it even begins. This is a huge part of why things aren't actually getting better. Because now, identity is being used as a shield. Writers don't have to build strong characters. They just have to build important ones. Characters who can't be criticized because
and it's also like, you have to keep in mind as well that if you write a story about a non-binary person coming to terms with themselves, the odds are that that story isn't going to resonate with a lot of people because there aren't a lot of non-binary people. So if you make a character that has a divisive or a super minor, like, social struggle, this just isn't going to be something that people are interested in. Who would have guessed? Yes, isn't it amazing?
The right heroes could make all the difference.
What they represent, not who they actually are. It's lazy, and more than that, it's disrespectful, both to the audience and to the very groups these characters are supposed to speak for. Because real representation means giving those characters the same depth, struggle, and growth as anyone else, not making them untouchable, narcissistic brats that demand to be liked. You can't just hand
I wonder who that's like. Probably the writers.
Character a specific shielded identity and a crazy ego and call it strength. That's not how storytelling works. That's not how respect works. And that's not how truth works. One of the more recent examples for this is in the trailer for Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. In a short 4.5-minute trailer, Naughty Dog somehow managed to create an insane...
This is, dude...
Your idealism refreshes a battered old soul.
I have never seen a more negative reception to a trailer than this. I actually think that the original Concord trailer got a better initial reception than Intergalactic. It was brutal.
unlikable character who instantly comes across as extremely arrogant and narcissistic. And yet, they genuinely believe this character is above any criticism simply because of her race and identity. As soon as anyone calls her out as a poorly written character, the blame is flipped onto the viewer, labeling the viewer as racist or homophobic. But it has nothing to do with the race or identity of the protagonist.
I think to an extent it does in terms of being able to identify with somebody. Like, it's very obvious that gender and race are barriers to identification, and really incredible and strong characters transcend that. The best example of that, by a mile, is Goku. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you're in 7th grade, who do you want to be when you grow up? If you were in my high school or middle school then, it was Goku. And so, abso-fucking-lutely. But that is a, you know, again, that is a edge case. I do think that gender and race play a role, but again, you can transcend that if the character is very good.
It comes across as unlikable. Now, here's where things also get a little bit complicated. I genuinely believe that characters like this are only unlikable to those who have been exposed to genuine strength in their lives. And I can actually see how this sort of character could be likable to those who have not been exposed to genuine strength in their lives. I personally believe that fatherless homes or abusive experiences from individuals that are supposed to represent strength in our lives can create an exposure of counterfeit strength. Obviously, life is nuanced, and I personally know quite a few people who have been exposed throughout their lives to this counterfeit strength that do have a healthy view of strength now. But when you grow up without a model of earned, quiet, or steady strength, you can easily mistake loudness for confidence, control for leadership, and arrogance for self-assurance. And so
I think that's definitely what happens. Manic kept 100 subs. Holy shit, thank you very much. Yeah, we've had a lot of sub-gifters today. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. It's actually probably Twitch on alt accounts trying to make it less embarrassing that I made more on Kick in 2 days than I made in a month on Twitch. Probably that's actually probably what's happening. But it's okay. It's okay, guys. Keep it up. I don't mind. And anyway, so I think that especially with content creators, like the arrogance being confidence and like the random acts of aggression being some form of like a emotional control is just a very huge problem. And I think this is an issue even in society in general, like outside of media, but just in general.
Character who steamrolls over others, never listens, never bends, and acts like the world owes them something might actually look strong to someone who's only ever seen power used that way. Making characters like this completely alienates audiences. Not because we're hateful or closed-minded, but because we're being told to cheer for characters that are poorly written but guilt-wrapped in a protected identity. And if we don't celebrate these characters, we get labeled and called out. But that's not strength. That's trauma with a label on it. And that's
about right. Yeah, a lot of these characters are just trauma. That's yeah, there you go.
The danger. When culture starts celebrating unhealed wounds as empowerment, when fiction becomes a mirror of brokenness rather than a picture of what wholeness could look like, we stop aiming upwards and we start settling. We start calling dysfunction power, not because it is, but because it's all some people have ever known. You can see this play out in real life. Take someone you believe to have narcissistic qualities, whether a public figure or someone in your personal life. They could be popular, charismatic, and quick-witted, sure. But what you're really witnessing more often than not is just ego dressed as strength.
I think that's the case. And also, like, again, it's a female lead that's on par with Goku. The difference is that women, I think, identify differently with characters for different reasons. And so, like, and this is another big issue, is that it's the lie that's been told to writers and developers that the same way to, like, how do you write a female character is different than you write a male character. Because men and women are different. So if you take a male archetype and then you just simply swap it with a female, in a lot of cases, whenever you get into like personifying that character, you're going to have issues. Like it doesn't matter in a lot of cases, like for example, like with Samus, right? Because there's nothing going on. It's just like a character running around. But in general, men and women are different, and the way that they react to things are different too. So if you have like a girl that's reacting to things in the same way that a man would, this is going to not appeal to a lot of people, and it's going to be, again, it's going to be uncanny.
rarely or never admit when they're wrong. They often talk over others and position themselves as the smartest in the room without actually doing the harder work of listening, learning, or sacrificing. That's not strength. That's a performance of a false perception of strength. And for a lot of young people, especially those without real mentors, that kind of performance can be convincing. Because if you've never or rarely seen genuine strength in your life, the kind that leads by example, that serves others, that admits failure, that shows genuine humility, then the counterfeit could look strong. C.S. Lewis once said, "We make men without chests and expect them virtue and enterprise. We laugh at honor and are shocked to find traitors in our midst." In other
that's rough. That's a lot. Damn.
words, we strip away the soul of real strength, the virtue, the responsibility, the self-mastery. We laugh and mock the real thing when it is displayed, and then we're surprised when the people we elevate as heroes don't act like heroes at all. When we confuse narcissism for strength, we don't just warp our stories, we warp our expectations of ourselves and each other. People start performing instead of growing. They protect their image instead of building character. They become addicted to being right instead of learning how to be wise. And
this is a big issue that happens on social media. It's a huge, huge problem. Is like people worry constantly about like how they're seen on social media. And I think that they're afraid of being disliked so much. And I think the reason why it happens is because maybe this is like just me being an asshole, but I think it's probably because they were losers in high school and they didn't have that many friends. And so like they were like super insecure about something, because like a lot of the people that I know that are kind of like that, they were kind of just losers, right? Like people didn't really like them, and so like now they finally got in a position where they are liked and people do think they're cool, and this is like the first time in their life, and so it's like a really big deal for them, like, oh my god, like wow, like now I'm this guy, you know, and that's it. Yeah, small pee-pee syndrome. Well, it's like they're almost like making up for lost time. You know, they're pretending to be this type of person now to overcompensate from the fact that they were not this person when, you know, again, and what is that? That's, again, trauma, right? Trauma, again, like for at least like me and a lot of my friends that I know, like, you know, I wasn't like the most popular guy in high school, right? I mean, I wasn't really not either. I was just a guy. I had friends and everything was great, right? Everything was good. And so, like, I didn't really have that issue. So, like, you're not going into this with a chip on your shoulder. Like, obviously, everybody wants to be seen as right. Everybody wants to be seen as good guy, of course. But, like, the desire and the need for it, I think, does drive a lot of, effectively, what is mental illness.
The worst part, they start to believe that vulnerability is weakness, that empathy is a flaw, that asking for help is a failure. Real strength doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need a platform. It grows in silence through trial. It's something you become, not something you declare. So the question becomes, what kind of strength are we trying to build in ourselves? And what kind of strength are we celebrating in others? Because if we don't know the difference, we'll keep clapping for the counterfeits while the real thing quietly slips away. So let's come back to the real thing. Real strength is not perfection. It's not dominance. It's not being the loudest person in the room or the most unshakable or unteachable in the spotlight. It's the man who stands alone for what is right, even when it costs him everything. It's the woman who forgives what the world says is unforgivable. It's even the leader who kneels before they command. It's not found in applause. It's found in sacrifice. Look at historical figures such as Nelson.
I think that there's a lot of people that, you know, the idea of sacrifice, and the problem also is like the sacrifice stolen valor. It's like for these people, their idea of a sacrifice is like not being like, not going to prom, right? This is the reason why they have like struggle in their life, and so they're thinking about this, and they're like 31 years old. They're thinking about prom. Like, I mean, I'm sorry, it's a fucking loser. Absolute fucking loser. What a bitch. And so anyway, very, very cool. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Why? Exactly. Or like, you know, somebody didn't like you in high school or something like that. I do, and it sounds bad, but I do genuinely think that 95% of this is unresolved trauma from being a kid. And like, I would say like being 20 and under. This is where a lot of these people get their problems from.
Mandela, who grew up under the
Sacrifice stolen
apartheid,
valor?
in prison for
Yeah.
27 years, and instead of coming out bitter and vengeful, he led a nation towards healing and reconciliation. That's strength. Look at Corrie ten Boom, a woman who lost everything in the Holocaust, including her sister, and yet she chose to forgive the man who was responsible. That is strength. Look at Martin Luther King Jr., who faced death threats, violence, and prison, yet he met hatred with peace and injustice with love. That's strength. And finally,
well, it's also the like, I think that another big thing with strength too is the ability to affect change. Because like there's a lot of people that, you know, they try to do something, but it's about also having the power to make a change and the power to actually do something. And when you have the opportunity to do the right thing, that's it. So what if you have unresolved trauma? Are you able to write something good, or are you doomed? I think that you are able to write something good, but I think that you need to do it with the conscious awareness that to make sure that you're not writing something that is trauma dumping effectively, or that is trying to like make up for something that you personally feel like you're lacking. I think you need that level of self-awareness, and the problem is that that level of self-awareness is also is almost perceived as being bad.
At Jesus. Whether you believe in him or not, there is no figure in history who better embodies strength through sacrifice.
Yeah.
He had power, authority, a following, and yet chose the path of suffering. He didn't destroy his enemies, he forgave them. He didn't demand loyalty.
I can't believe you just did that too, by the way. Like, I saw some posts about this. Like, bro, Jesus is going out there doing miracles, casting fucking spells and shit. Like, I mean, you really gonna betray a wizard? How dumb, how fucking stupid you have to be. Like, this dude is a literal motherfucking wizard, and you're gonna try to roach out on him? Really? Think about it. Like, it's just, I mean, that's just a mistake.
He washed feet. He didn't save himself, he gave himself. And in doing so, redefined strength not as dominance, but as self-giving love. Real strength isn't about appearing invincible. It's about remaining faithful, honest, and loving, even when you feel broken. Especially when you feel broken. These people didn't become strong by demanding the world revolve around them. They became strong by laying something down. Their comfort, their ego, their vengeance, and their lives. For the sake of something or someone greater. So maybe it's time we relearn what strength
says MLK cheated on his wife. It's all nonsense. I think that a lot of people are flawed, and I think that it's really important to, and this is one thing, like, I'm actually not a big advocate of like looking at an individual and trying to look at people as role models. I think that you should look at attributes, actions, and behaviors as like models to like, you know, like build off of, rather than trying to like copy basically what somebody else is doing, because that's the big issue, right? It's the actions. And so, because like nobody's perfect, right? No human is going to like be able to live up to the standards of never making a mistake, never doing something wrong, etc. So the solution to that, in my opinion, is to simply not hold them to that regard. Don't open that door.
Strength actually is. It's not the power to dominate. It's the courage to endure, the humility to grow, the grace to forgive, the wisdom to wait, and the character to keep going, especially when no one is watching. Thank you guys for watching.
Role models are not allowed to do mistakes. I think that when role models make mistakes, people try to make excuses for the mistakes rather than being able to accept that people are imperfect. And I think that's the issue with role models, is that when a person tries to model their life after another person, and then that person, for some reason or another, doesn't live up to whatever the expectation is of them, then after that, there's like a degree of like kind of resentment, right, or frustration. And so that's it. That's the problem. Yeah, exactly. And I think that it leads people into that issue.
Video, and thank you so much to my Patreons for supporting me. I'm back on the ball with YouTube again, and I'm going to be producing a lot more videos a lot quicker going
more
forward.
Content.
This is just my perspective. It is
nice.
a angle. It's not the whole picture of why I believe it is a thing, but I genuinely think that there is a bit of a decline in the idea of strength at the moment. If you agree or disagree with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's keep it respectable again, and thank you guys so much for all the support, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, I totally agree with this, by the way. I completely agree with everything you're saying. And unreasonable expectations is good explaining shit. Half the chat's losing their mind because Jesus was mentioned. Well, Jesus is just simply an example, right? I mean, like, it's nothing else really besides that. And also, I mean, really, you can look at 50 other examples that are kind of the same thing, and you're going to have the same point. I'll link you guys a video. Like, this is a padded video. I remember I was watching his videos, like, pretty much with his first video he made, and I thought it was great. And so make sure to give him a sub. He's got 36,000 subscribers now. And so, yeah, really, really good videos. I think they're great.
Mortal pain is no advantage gained in the material plane.
This is the girl that I had originally watched when she had 300 subscribers. Now she has 122,000 subscribers. And this has been, I think, a pretty popular topic with a lot of people. And I think that video games are starting to shift away from having like weird, androgynous, weird-looking characters. But it's still ongoing a little bit, right? So we'll watch this.
And all of this is why I just do not understand why some developers keep getting it wrong. It really feels so simple. Yes, give us great gameplay, fun mechanics, a interesting and meaningful story, but then layer attractive, pretty characters on top of that to create hype around the game, grab our interest, and hold our attention.
People want to roleplay as somebody they want to be. Nobody wants to be an androgynous, bald weirdo.
As Sorcerer Supreme,
All of this just makes for a much more enjoyable experience.
Just it.
So
Even
this
they don't
video
want to be
is
that.
kind of related to my very first video about women in games, but before we get into it, we have to acknowledge everybody that is subscribed to the channel.
There's been a lot of people.
Wow, honestly, I don't really even know what to say. This has been such a overwhelming week in the best way, but thank you. Thank you to every single one of you for all of the comments and messages and just all of the support. Now, let's talk about hot characters. I've always found it very interesting when I see some gamers say, I don't care what my character looks like, I just want a good game. And while, sure, I believe some people probably do feel that way, when you actually look around at what's successful and
The logic for that is so stupid. So if you don't care the way the character looks, then you're not part of the conversation about this to begin with. But whenever you talk about the people that do care how the character looks, the overwhelming majority want the character to look good. So if you are saying, by definition, I don't care about this, I don't care, it is not an argument against one side. It's you saying that you don't care about either side. So either you're saying you don't care, or you're trying to fight against the people that say that they do. And again, if you're trying to tell people what they can and can't like, or what they should and shouldn't like, I think you're in for an uphill battle.
it's not, what resonates and what doesn't. The idea that visuals don't matter, it doesn't really hold up. The second you start digging into this stuff, it's pretty clear. Visuals play a huge role in whether something hits or flops. And if they didn't, cosmetics probably wouldn't be one of the most profitable parts of the entire gaming industry.
That's a great point, and I've said this before myself, and this is true, is that how do you say that people don't care how they look if cosmetics are so popular? Really, it doesn't make any sense.
Because I think most of us do care, even if it's subconsciously. And this isn't just a gaming thing, but for whatever reason, the gaming industry seems especially confused about it. Because books, anime, movies, shows, we care about how the characters look. We always have. Now,
well, movies have had this problem too, where like they keep casting actresses that are not really like particularly very attractive in roles, and the movies don't do as well as whenever they cast a really attractive actress in a role. It's a very, very important thing. And I think this is true also for men as well. Like it's not just for it's not just for girls, it's also for guys. Like a lot of movie star men are very attractive guys.
To be clear, an attractive character cannot save bad writing or bad gameplay. A great design won't make a boring game fun, and eye candy is totally pointless if there's zero substance to back it up. And on the opposite side, it's not like a game is necessarily doomed if the characters are uninspired or unattractive. But let's be honest, we have quite a few times at this point. But when it does work. When you combine great writing, solid
I think it's pattern recognition with a lot of people. Like, whenever they see a lot of these video games that come out with these weird androgynous characters and then the games are bad, I think people start to recognize a pattern where it's like, it seems like every single time one of these games comes out, it's always bad if it has these types of characters. And that's really it. It's all the time. Yeah, it's almost a 100% ratio.
Gameplay and a compelling visual design. It's really when the secret sauce is, and that's when a character truly becomes iconic. So, how important is beauty really? What can it actually be used for in storytelling, and why does it matter at all? Yes, beauty is completely subjective, but let's try and figure it out.
Yeah, beauty's subjective. Yes, this is true to an extent, okay? To an extent.
When it comes to storytelling, beauty isn't just about looking good. It's about what that beauty communicates. It's a kind of visual shorthand for personality, purpose, or the emotional tone of a character. Take Cortana from Halo.
Yeah,
She's sleek, luminous, and kind of untouchable. Her ethereal design isn't random. It reinforces her role as an AI. She's attractive, mysterious, highly advanced, but also slightly hard. Or Aerith from Final Fantasy. She's beautiful in this really soft, gentle way. Her design radiates hope and warmth, and you feel that when she's on screen. There's something very delicate and endearing about her that sticks with you. Then there's Eve from Stellar Blade. And yeah, people definitely noticed her design pretty much immediately. She's bold, striking, and yes, but what's cool is that once the game launched, the gameplay actually backed it up. And okay, can we talk about Verso from Clair Obscur for a second?
Yeah, exactly. This is a really interesting video. Like, I mean, it's so weird that like we're talking about this because like in a lot of these games, the male characters also look very attractive. Like, I don't want to play as an ugly looking like fat guy or something like that. Absolutely not.
He is undeniably very handsome.
Yeah, 100%.
The white hair, the posture, the somber expression. He's restrained, haunted, and you immediately feel like there's something deeper going on. These characters aren't designed to just be pretty. They're designed with intention. Their looks are part of their emotional blueprint, and the fact that they're attractive is what actually initially draws you in. Their looks tell you how to feel before a single line of dialogue. As humans, we are biologically wired to respond to beauty, and that's not a bad thing. So when a character's design feels off or it doesn't match the story we're being told, that disconnect can make it way harder to emotionally connect. And
I think there's also like whenever you see ugly characters or weird looking characters in video games now, every time I see that, it gives me like it reminds me that I'm playing a video game. Because I'm thinking, oh, I'm actually not playing a video game right now, and I'm actually playing propaganda. I'm playing something that's been created for this intent to make people believe this worldview. It's like immersion breaking, basically.
This kind of visual storytelling has been around for ages.
Because, like, you know, it's not being done for a creative reason.
And it's not just in games.